friends, it's Jessica and
me,
Adam from Three Rivers Homestead. I guess we have Hannah here today too. And Adam has been home for about the last week on his winter break, and I think this is the third year in a row that we have filmed a Q&A while he's home on break. It's just a good time. You know, normally Adam isn't home during the week and we don't have an opportunity to do this, so we thought we would take some time to film a Q&A for you guys. And I had asked for questions in my last video, and I have those written down. Before we get started, let's just talk about what we've been doing during our break. So, every year we kind of... Do you want me to talk about it?
Yeah, you start.
Okay.
You start.
We look forward to this break every year, and this year even more so because Miss Hannah was here, and it's just a good time for Adam to be home and spend some time with the baby, and all of us kind of were settling into this new life as a family of 10. But we have lots of traditions that we do over this winter break. A couple nights ago we did a shrimp boil. Adam cooks that for the family. It's a lot of fun. Last night we did this huge Mediterranean feast with food and had it all out on the table, and the kids enjoyed that.
Very good.
Yep. And then tonight Adam's doing a special Doctor Who night with the kids. They're going to watch some Doctor Who episodes.
Old Doctor Who episodes.
Yes, old Doctor Who.
Yes, classics.
The 1970s, the Fourth Doctor is his favorite. We've done a couple movie nights, and then tomorrow is New Year's Eve, and we'll do our big New Year's Eve celebration. We do a costume party. I think you are already prepared for that. You got the facial hair going for your costume. So the kids, we all pick a costume. We have a big kind of feast, big snack smorgasbord that we set out, and the kids get to snack all day, and we do board game tournaments. So we are really looking forward to that. So we've been having a lot of fun, just kind of enjoying life with Hannah and doing all of these fun traditions. So, yeah, anything you want to add to what we've been up to lately?
The temperature was really cold, so we were watering animals about 4 times a day and keeping the fire going, and we had enough wood. Actually, it was kind of fun. It was cold in a couple rooms and hot in most others.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I forgot that's how we spent the whole beginning of your break with those.
First 4 days.
Yeah, it got down to negative 37 with the wind chill here during that big kind of Arctic blast or whatever they were calling it. So yeah, that was kept us busy at the beginning. Oh, it didn't keep me busy. I have a baby, so I wasn't.
You were busy anyway.
I was busy anyways,
but
I wasn't out doing the chores. So anyways, I'm going to go hand Miss Hannah off to somebody because she is content, and then we are going to start answering our questions. Sound good?
Wonderful.
All right. All right, so let's just dive into the questions. We're going to start with questions kind of about your work situation. How's that sound? Okay. So Sarah wanted to know, does Adam plan on eventually working from home with you, or does he enjoy working outside of the household?
That's a great question. I do enjoy working outside of the home because I have for so many years. I like diversity, as in financially. I like to have assets, hard assets, and I like to have different incomes with animals, breeding dogs, working, a paycheck here, YouTube. Different to diversify all of our financials. So I don't know if we can always rely on this type of income. So maybe one day, way down the road, it'd be really nice to be able to stay home. I love work. I mean, I'd rather work at home and make what I make and have the security of that paycheck to pay for our health care and other things. I don't like to take that much risk with my family right now, especially with 8 little ones and my wife. But we could one day take that, but I don't want it to be a big risk. And right now, it would be a risk to just jump into all of this.
Yeah, just have whatever the homestead provides, and then YouTube as our primary financial source. That YouTube can be fickle, and it could be taken away tomorrow. So it just doesn't seem wise to put all our eggs in that basket.
Yep. So that's how I would answer that one.
Well, this question kind of ties into that. Brianna wanted to know, with Adam working at the university, will your children get a discount if they attend here? And I think that that's important to note because that plays a big role in our decision.
Well, that's another way that we diversify.
Yeah.
If I still work there, all of my children get to have their free tuition at that university.
So a 4-year degree for free is huge for the children. That's a huge blessing.
That is a big one. Yep.
So yeah, it wouldn't make wise financial sense for us to throw that opportunity away, especially as we have kids that are just a few years away from approaching that phase of life where they need to start making decisions about college.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's.
Yep. And I don't think, we've addressed it in previous videos, but we didn't talk about it today. Adam works at a university. He's a facilities manager for the indoor athletic complex at that university, as well as for the event center. So that's what he does. A lot of people, when I say he works at a university, they think he's a professor. He doesn't work on the academic side. He works more in administration. And that's why he's home every December. Why we get this lovely break is because the university kind of shuts down for their holiday break, and
it's really nice.
It's nice working at a university. I mean, if he's gonna work outside of the home, it's
nearly ideal for our lifestyle, and it's only 25 minutes away, and I get all the holidays off, the weekends that bump up to the holidays, a big Christmas break. I worked in healthcare before, and we didn't get anything like this. So this is. It's really an ideal job for what we do.
Yep. You know, and Adam, one of his big loves is fitness. And he mentioned he worked in healthcare before. He worked in physical therapy, and he's always been into, exercise and those kinds of things. And because he works at the indoor athletic complex, he gets to work around athletes, and he gets to do things like that.
Yeah.
So
I teach a boxing class and a body weight class for fun a couple times a year.
So, yeah. I mean, as far as jobs go, I think that he's in a good place, and we wouldn't...
It's a good job.
Yeah.
It's fun, too.
Yep. Next question. Kelly wanted to know, what are our 2023 Homestead goals? So, you can start.
Okay. We have a few projects. We're digging around the house to dry out our cellar. Then we are going to be able to store more things down in our cellar, have a dry cellar.
We'll have like a root cellar, which will be awesome. All of this canning behind us can hopefully move down there and then free up space upstairs.
Yeah, yep. We are going to fix the cattle run so I don't get ran over again.
So I'll pause you there. One of our projects we did this year was creating an alleyway to help move cattle across the property more easily. And we're new at all of this, so we designed this alley thinking what we thought was best, and we realized we made it too wide. And so Adam, having used it twice now to move cattle, has realized it's very dangerous. They can turn around.
Both of them, the last two heifers turned around and about ran me over.
Yeah.
So I'm going to narrow that towards the end so they can't turn around. Yeah. Let's see, what else? We'll get more beef. We plan on breeding Leela this spring. At least this might be her last time. We'll see how well she does. She did well last time. She had a few issues last time, but the vet said that everything was fine. She's healthy and all that kind of stuff, so we'd like to do that. We gave her time off. And now we're going to try it this spring again and see how well she tolerates it. It might be her last litter, or if everything turns out perfect, maybe she'll have one more. She's an awesome dog.
She really is.
And all the puppies that came from her, we kept one, and all the others that we know of, that we've kept track of, we try to keep track of them. Everybody just loves the puppies that came from her. So hopefully we can get at least another healthy litter out of her. That's good in the spring, summertime. I got to look out there.
Yeah, I think other than that, we're at the point, we were kind of talking about this earlier today, we're at the point where we're doing basically everything that we want to be doing on our land. We've sort of maxed out the space. Our goals right now are just to kind of do what we're doing better, find more efficient ways to do things. I think that for next year we need to work on more efficient watering systems maybe through the winter, kind of figure that out. But
more infrastructure
stuff, yeah. But I think we'll do the same. If our bees survive the winter, which they survived the cold snap. I went out and looked at them today, and they're still alive, which is amazing. I was worried about them in those negative 37-degree temperatures that came out of nowhere. But we have one hive of bees that are alive. Lord willing, they'll survive the winter, and we can kind of grow the bee situation. Because I haven't had the energy the last couple years. I've been pregnant and all of that to really devote to the bees and, you know, making that work. So I think we want to do that. Just do more with the garden. I'd like to plant more fruit trees. But other than that, we're doing, you know, the beef and the poultry that we raise.
I'd say we are about maxed out, and not just because we can't add anything more to the property, but we also want to balance our marriage and the kids. And if we start doing too much, which we have in the past, the kids suffer because we're trying to make them have them do some of the things with us, which is pretty difficult. And then if they don't do it correctly, we correct it by doing it ourselves to show them, and all of a sudden we're taking more time away from our family. And so we're about where we need to be for having our 8th child a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean, that segues into TT Schrock wanted to know something about how our priorities and goals have changed over the past few years with regards to the homestead, and also like things we would do differently now, like what we wouldn't worry about now that we worried about back then. And I think that you touched on the fact that there were periods of time where we were just doing too much, you know, and not balancing that homestead project and the needs of the children very well. Like, we got in over our heads. And so I feel like we're kind of maxed out now. We want to make the systems that we're doing more efficient, and then just have more time to enjoy the homestead. Enjoy each other, time for each other, time with the kids. And, we've learned a lot. This is our 7th year on the property. We've learned a lot in that time on things that we can do better.
What not to do,
and we're just taking that information now and moving into a new season of life where we just want to, like, I don't know, enjoy and not work so hard.
Yeah.
I mean, we're already working. We're gonna work hard because there's work to do, but we want to work smarter now, not harder.
Right. And we've done the infrastructure, most of it, to where when we're done with this video, the children go out and do afternoon chores, and they're all done in 20 minutes.
Yeah, chores don't take as long as they used to.
And so they're all done. This winter chores, it's feeding the animals and maybe getting some wood, water and feeding the animals, and just checking on them, and really it doesn't take very long in the winter time to do our normal daily chores. Yep. Outdoor chores.
So that's what I would have changed when we started. And we really, we eased into things. We didn't take on a ton in the beginning.
Well, it's all the infrastructure.
We were unprepared, and we weren't doing things.
We didn't have a tractor.
Yeah.
We didn't have a livestock trailer. We didn't have an old beater truck.
Right.
We didn't have a lot of things that we had to borrow or use shovel and buckets.
Right.
And to put things together, there was a lot of things that, we don't have to do it that way.
Look at my garden, it was so much work the first couple years, and now, we've transferred it all to landscape fabric and raised beds, and it just, and this year I hope to do an irrigation system. It'll just keep getting easier the more systems we put into place, that then, I don't have to stand out there and water for 2 hours a day total, morning and night. That time I can spend with the kids or with you. So, yep. Yeah. Okay, Carol wanted to know more about Adam's diet and his health habits. I think if you follow me on Instagram, or maybe from my meal videos I've done here, you guys may notice that Adam doesn't eat breakfast or lunch with us. He typically just eats dinner here with the family. So I think a lot of people have questions. They want to know, well, what do you eat when we're eating what we eat here?
Well, I'm not sure how specific of reasonings the reasons you're asking, but when I'm at work, I used to eat pretty heavy meals at lunch, and then I would crash too much. So now I just have smoothies Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday for lunch, and then I eat supper at home. But on Wednesdays, I go out and have pizza, and then I crash in the afternoon. I find that my body works better kind of fasting overnight and through late morning, and I get a lot more done. My head's clearer, and my body runs smoother.
Yeah, I spent
at this time of my life. Yeah,
the first, I don't know, however many years of our marriage, I made breakfast for you and packed your lunch every day for work. And I don't know, maybe it's when you turned 40 or so. I think maybe your body was, your metabolism, I don't know what's changing, that he started doing the intermittent fasting to where he started skipping breakfast. So I didn't make it for him anymore.
Yep. And I find my body does better when I'm fasting
Yeah.
for 14, 18 hours. And then I still consume nearly about the same amount of calories, but I just do it in a shorter period.
Yeah. It's worked out great. Like he said, he gets smoothies 4 days a week when he's out at work for lunch. And the smoothie shop that he goes to is the place that we asked them. They like do all of this juicing, and they have all of these, strawberry tops and, bits from different produce from the smoothies that they're making that were just going into the trash. And so one day I met Adam there for lunch, saw that, and I was like, do you think maybe we could take that home for the chickens?
Yeah.
And so he just went up and asked, there's no harm in asking. And they said yes, if we provided buckets, that they would give us all of their scraps from the produce and from the juicing machine.
Mm-hmm.
And so we get sometimes 2 5-gallon buckets a day of just scraps for the chickens eat it, and it's free food for them.
I think we get about probably 5 to 8 5-gallon buckets a week.
Yeah, it works out great, and then we just wash them out, and then he takes them back the next day, and
that's half our feed.
Yep. And then we just pay them back when we have extra eggs. We bring in eggs for them, for the workers, to thank them, and it works out great. So there's no harm in asking if you're someone with animals out there and you see a situation like that where food is just being thrown away. If you make it easy for them and provide, the buckets or containers that they'll put it in, maybe they'll say yes and give it to you for your animals.
Yep. So. Yeah.
Okay, this is a tough one. Barbara wanted to know which child is most like Adam and which is most like Jessica.
I think that all of them are a mixture.
Well, because they're their own people.
If I had to pick one that was most like me, it'd probably be Grace.
Yeah.
She is very strong and athletic and outgoing, and always wanting to do something.
Yep. She's extroverted.
Always wanting to do something.
Very extroverted and social, and Adam is more so that way. Yeah.
Well, it just seems like that because you're the opposite.
Because I'm like very not. So.
But I would say if I had to pick one that was most like me, I'd probably lean that way. And if I had to pick one that was more like her, like Jess, she's so needy. I'd probably say the baby. I'm just kidding. But I'd probably say Gabriel, our oldest, because he likes to do a lot of things that you like to do. He likes to explain things in major detail.
He likes to talk.
He likes to talk.
He's a talker, and I'm a talker.
Yeah. But he also would be fine if he never left the house for a month.
He's extreme introvert, and I'm
so
pretty extreme.
That's where I would say if we had to pick one, but then we look at all of them and we would say, well, no, that trait is Adam and that trait is Jessica, and so I think it's a good blend.
Yeah.
But if we had to pick two, that's the two I would say.
That's a good thing. I didn't think about Grace, because sometimes I see a lot of Adam and David. Just they're more quiet and reserved. They you have to pry information out of them. They're the opposite of Gabe. They're not talkers, But I think Grace is a better fit. That's a good, that makes sense. Debbie Debbie Haffey wanted to know, did you both want to live this lifestyle? And by this, she was talking about the homestead and a lot of children, just everything about our lives right now.
From when? A month ago, yes. Maybe a couple years ago, yes. When we first met and got married, I loved the country. That's how I grew up. But it was gardens and dirt bikes. It wasn't animals. It was, you lived on the farm, but there was no farming. It was just a giant garden and dirt bikes.
You just liked the idea of being kind of out of town.
I don't
more
like
privacy, kind of like.
I just don't like being around people outside. I like to go to my mailbox in my underwear. I mean, not literally, but the idea. It's your way out in the country.
That there's some privacy, yeah.
Yeah, there's privacy. You can go
yeah.
out to the side yard, shoot your gun, or ride your dirt bike, or just there's not a lot of nosiness around. So I enjoyed the country growing up. I always thought it'd be neat to have a plot of land and live out in the country again. But my first house I bought was in a neighborhood, and then we got married. We upgraded to a really nice house in a neighborhood.
Yeah, and I think that speaks to what life we thought we would have when we got married. We picked a house in a specific neighborhood in a school district that would have been really good if our kids were living the public school life. Like, this would have been the perfect neighborhood. And so I think that we got married expecting that life.
Yep, the normal.
Yeah, the suburban public school. Yep. I'd be in the PTA. You'd be the soccer dad.
Two 4 children.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what we thought would happen, and then, life happened, and I think a lot of it was our faith journey.
First child with anaphylaxis, diet journey. Your Crohn's journey. My surgeries journey, fitness, and different things like that. And then our journey to be more reliable, I don't say reliable, self-reliable, so that we can just take care of ourselves. We had an ice storm way back when we were dating, and the power went out in my house for 5 days, and I'm dumping buckets out of my sub pump, and I had a wood burner, but that was the start of saying, I can't rely on everything. We had people that had power outages like crazy this past weekend that was, in negative 30s, and there's people without power. That if we lost our power, with being that cold, it would just be boring.
Yeah.
It would just be boring unless we throw on some generators for some light. But we have all the heat we need, and our freezers are out in the garage, so they'd be cold.
We have a hand pump. We can get water to flush toilets. And
we can, and that's what really started and moved us out to the country, and it'd be nice to have a little bit more of that, but.
Yeah, I would say when we were looking at properties, when we decided we wanted to leave the suburbs and move somewhere more rural, I was looking at it more like I wanted to homestead. Adam was looking at it more like he just wanted to kind of get away and find a way to be more self-sufficient. And then together, we've kind of been on this journey for the last 7 years. I think we're kind of at a place where we have the same goals now.
Pretty close, yeah.
Yeah, we enjoy growing the food because when you have to feed 8 kids, that's pretty much the only way it's affordable. I can't imagine buying meat in the grocery store right now when I see those prices versus, having beef and poultry out in the freezer. Just...
Yeah, for a fraction of the price.
I don't know how families do it right now, and so, a lot of it is current events that have happened over the last couple of years that have shown us the necessity for what we're doing, that I think now we're both kind of on the same page.
Yeah.
Where maybe we weren't 5 years ago or 7 years ago.
No, we had different ideas of what was next.
Yeah. Yeah.
What we needed to do next, or how much to do in one certain thing. But I think what we're doing now, it's kind of fun, nerve-wracking at times when there's death.
Death with the animals.
With the animals.
Yeah.
Sorry. Didn't want to scare you there.
We had a rough year with calves. We lost 3 calves this year.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and we lost a few puppies when she was giving birth.
When she was giving birth.
So just in those things, and that's hard because we don't want them to die, but that goes along with what happens. Yeah. I mean, you live on the farm and you have a bunch of animals, you're going to have death. Yeah. So it's nice. It's nice what we're doing right now.
Yeah. It
really is. It's not easy, but it's not hard.
Yep. And I think there's benefits for the children. The deaths that we've dealt with, it teaches lessons to the kids. The work that they're doing teaches them lessons.
Yeah.
And it's nice to have the food.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
Well, and also they're watching how Jess and I handle the death. Mm-hmm. I'm a person that has to fix a situation as quickly as possible, so I probably seem agitated a little bit more, but I get the job done. So we have a neighbor guy down the way that has an old a deer that he can dig a hole in 20 minutes for me. So that's what I've had to have him do that for me, but I wanted to do it myself. But you have to rely on people when you need to take care of it quickly. Yeah,
it's taught us the need for community. People want to like move to a homestead and they say, "Oh, I'm going to be completely self-sufficient," and that is a farce. That's impossible to live this lifestyle and do it all yourself. Like even if we're growing the animals, we're not growing all the feed for the animals. Right. And so we have neighbors down the road that can provide feed for us. And like you said, we've got a neighbor that has some equipment that we don't have, and we have some equipment. Like we have a livestock trailer that he doesn't have, and he can use that when he wants. And so it's just important to have that. And we've learned that lesson.
But we don't grow our own hay.
We don't.
So I have bales from about 6 counties away. Mm-hmm. I have a buddy up there that brings down a bunch of hay, and then about 6 miles away, I get 4x4 round bales, which is nice, by the way. If you can find 4x4 round bales, it's ideal because you can move them with your hand, but they don't get moldy in time if you just only have a few heads out there. 4x4s are nice, and they're not too far. And he says he's always got one for me if I need one.
Yeah.
So it's nice to have that community. It makes it so much easier, and that's part of our infrastructure. Is that we have found people that we can rely on, and the word rely on is the 2 words rely on. Okay, I don't want to say who that came from. Has made things a lot easier. I can just call them up, say, hey, I need this and this. Okay, I can stop by this weekend and get this and this. Yeah. And that's
part of that journey over the last 7 years that we're talking about.
We had to find it.
We were doing it all, trying to do it all on our own the hard way at first, and now
it's so much easier.
We're trying. Well, we haven't figured it all out, but we're getting there.
Yeah, we're so much closer.
Yeah. Right. One of the number one questions we get, and I'm like, we just had a baby, and people still wonder, but I understand why they wonder. Tammy wants to know. First of all, she wanted to know how many boys and girls we have. We have 5 boys and 3 girls now that Miss Hannah is here, but she wanted to know: do we plan to have more children?
We haven't made a plan to have any more children since child 4 or 5.
Yeah. I think we kind of knew we'd have the first 4. It was kind of like, yeah. And then...
Tried.
Yeah, it was like... I don't know if we were actively trying. We were just, like a given that we're going to have another. We're like, yeah. And then after that, once you have 4, it's like, what's another? What's another?
Yeah.
And we don't really have a plan.
No, we don't really have a plan. People in my life have asked me a couple questions like, man, why do you have so many? And are you guys done? And I say, I look at the newest one we have here, Hannah, or they've said it a while back when I had a few boys, and I said, I don't want to say that I'm done ever, because I look at the newest one here and I said, what if I'd have said I'm done before that one?
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine.
I can't imagine not having Hannah.
She smiled when you said that.
So I don't want to ever say that I am, but every time Jessica is pregnant, I pray harder, because it's harder for me to go through the whole process of it because we've had loss.
It's so hard on you.
And because I'm helpless, but it does get harder, as you know, for me, because I just can't do anything. There's nothing I can do.
No, it's funny. You know, the more times I've done it, it's harder on me. The fear of labor and delivery. I have more experiences to draw from. I've had bad births. I've had really good births, and so I think the more times you've done it, the harder it is, the anticipation of it, because you don't know how it's going to turn out. Is it going to be worse than the last time? You know, I mean, I get that. And I can see how for you it would be harder, because you've watched me through some pretty difficult births, and you don't want to watch that happen. And we've had bad outcomes. We've had many miscarriages, and so there's the fear of that. And so I can see how that would be harder for you.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really it. I mean, if we had another one, and then someone asked me again, I'd be like, well, yes, I thought we were done after this one, because I'm not sure if it can happen again or not.
I mean, let's be realistic. I turned 42 in like a couple days.
Yeah.
And he's 46. I mean, we're getting older. So we had 3 miscarriages before we had Hannah. So
46 going on 28.
So I mean, women can't have babies forever. So we'll see what happens, but it's not, it's not likely. But you never know. There's some women that have babies easily through their mid-40s, and we're open to whatever. It's like he said, if I would hate to say no to a blessing, and
every time.
Yep.
Every time.
Yep.
So
that's a really roundabout answer, but that's the
best one. It might answer another question now.
I don't know.
know.
Okay, so Susanna wanted to know, what is our long-term goal after the children have left the house? Will we downsize or maintain what we have now? And we talk about this a lot, so it's a good one.
I don't know. Honestly.
Okay, so when you do the math, Adam's 46. By the time Hannah here, let's say she's out of college, let's say she's 22, Adam's pushing 70 at that point.
Yep.
And I'm in my mid-60s. So it's funny, we have a hard time talking about what life will be like after the children are out of the house, because we don't know how much life we'll have left.
Right.
We sort of, when we gave control of our fertility over to the Lord, we sort of had to recognize that we were giving our lives over to our children. Like, our life is about raising children, and we're okay with that, obviously, or we wouldn't have made that choice.
Yep.
And so
Yep.
I don't know.
I love traveling. Used to. We don't travel anymore. We really can't with the homestead and our lifestyle. But I've been to Ireland. You've been over to England, and I've been all over the United States. On the land, I've been to Alaska or Hawaii, but I've been all over the place. I used to love traveling. I still love traveling, but I don't really miss it. Maybe going to the ocean, being on the beach a couple times, but outside of that, I don't really miss it because we have so much here. Mm-hmm. I enjoy being with my children so much that if I have grandchildren here, or one of our kids decides that they need to stay for a while because of something that happens, I'm like, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm 70 years old and I can't feed the cows, so you carry out the bucket, youngster. But,
no, you brought up the travel. That's the only thing I see really being different after children are gone. Maybe we would travel a little bit more. And with 8 kids, chances are some of them will move somewhere where we'll have to travel to visit them. And
well, we downsize our home is not big at all.
We could have downsized much.
No, we all the kids move out, every room will still be full.
Yeah.
Our house is very small. We are I'm surprised that we can do what we do,
Mm-hmm.
and we're all not pulling our hair out by February.
Yeah.
We're close, but we're right on top of each other.
Yeah.
What we're doing outside here, I mean, if we're still raising Boz shepherds and have a few chickens, and one beef cow out there, that's really not a lot of work.
Yeah.
Now that's not travel, but maybe one of the kids needs a home, and we're like, you know what? We can live somewhere in a condo and be a blessing to one of our children,
And just hand them
and
this.
and then just give them something that's already together. I don't know what it's going to look like. I don't make a lot of huge plans. I just try to diversify so much into a lot of different things so that we have options later on in life. You know, we could be able to right now at this stage and where we're going, just give this to one of our children, and they can just have the homestead, and we could go cheaply live in a condo.
Well, we joked too about just buying a little RV and parking it at various kids' houses around the country. I'm just joking. But no, buy something smaller. And
Well, I almost quoted something. I'm glad I didn't.
okay.
I'm glad I almost did.
Yeah.
I almost quoted something.
But yeah, I could see though, after another 20-some years of, I mean, we are responsible for a lot of things. We have a lot of children we're responsible for, a lot of animals, just a lot of stuff, that I could see us hitting our 70s and being tired from all of this responsibility and being ready to not be responsible for so many things. And then we'll just enjoy living somewhere I'll have a little garden, little flower garden in the back of the condo, and we can just have grandkids come over and bake cookies and stuff, and it'll be fun. But yeah. Anyway. So, Roseanne wants to know our thoughts on wedding rings and why we don't wear them.
I have one on today. I have one on today. One of those plastic rubbery ones.
Yeah. So, I'll answer for myself and then him. I have my hands in bread dough or garden soil. I'm also pregnant a lot with weight fluctuations, and it just isn't practical for me to wear one on an everyday basis. Adam did buy me a set of these little silicone ones in a bunch of different colors, and that would be a great solution to wear in, dishwater and garden soil. If I would remember to put one on. It's just been so long.
Yeah.
And I'm home all the time, so it just doesn't, and I don't think it bothers you that I don't have one on, does it?
No. I didn't wear one for years because every day I was working out. I would all of a sudden, out of nowhere, just jump on a pull-up bar and do, 10, 15 pull-ups because it was just there. Mm-hmm. And you don't want to do that with a ring on. Now, as I am getting more vintage, I don't do that all the time.
Vintage.
I take it off when I'm going to work out. I have a designated time instead of just pulling it off. I wear one out in public if I'm not going to go do anything. Sometimes I wear one to work, sometimes I don't.
Yeah.
It doesn't really bother me if I have one on or don't.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think either of us have strong sentimental attachment to our wedding rings. It doesn't symbolize my marriage at all. It isn't like, yeah.
It's not that big a deal. I mean, I'm at work. I think everybody knows that I'm married and
you're that guy with 8 kids.
Have a bunch of kids, and I like to homestead and I home church and we homeschool and we home birth and we and I look like this. We don't really fit in a lot of places, so I don't really, it's not like and we don't go out anywhere to where there would be a lot of single people like, hey, can I get your phone number?
Yeah.
But I go to work, I come home.
And if I'm out in public, I have a bunch of kids with me.
Right. I
don't think anyone's thinking maybe they're thinking I'm single. I don't know, but I don't think anyone would approach me because I don't have a ring on.
This is a symbol that I made with her. Mm-hmm. And it, if I lost my rings, it wouldn't be that big a deal because mine's very cheap. If she lost her rings, it'd be a big deal because it was pretty expensive back then. But outside of that, it doesn't really bother me.
Yeah.
I wear one once in a while. If we go to a wedding or a funeral or other things together, I wear mine.
Yeah, if I'm not pregnant and my fingers aren't swollen, I'll put mine on. I don't think it would fit right now because I'm still retaining water from the pregnancy. But yeah, so anyways, that's why I don't have one on. If you see it, I sometimes view a head covering out in public serves the same purpose for me on a like spiritual level in terms of my covenant that I made with you and God. Like that serves the same purpose. It's a symbol of the authority structure that, but yeah, this doesn't.
It's not that big a deal.
Not that big of a deal for either of us.
No.
Last one we're going to answer today. This is from Danes Are Darlings, and it's a good one to end on because I'm sure there will be some criticism over something that we said today in this Q&A. But she wants to know, do the critical viewpoints bother you? She had mentioned that she already knows kind of how I handle it, but we never talk about your response to it. And does it make you want to discourage me from doing, YouTube or doing any of my social media? Because there's a lot of criticism out there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's a tough question, and it's an evolving question. Mm-hmm. There are times where Jessica has come to me and talked about quitting because of this issue, and I never said no or yes. Have I?
You've never said no to me about anything.
Hardly anything. Unless I thought it was dangerous or...
Right.
Or no, we're not spending that kind of money.
Right.
Outside of that, I'm not here to tell her what to do. I'm here to give her advice, maybe how to handle a situation, or maybe a pause button and things like that. I get upset when my wife's upset, and
I've been pretty upset about some things that have been said before.
And she's told me about them, and so my solutions and answers right away weren't good. Mm-hmm. But taking time away from it or ignoring it is the best solution. Always in life.
Yep.
Strict criticism for something that you believe in is right, you need to just push away. I take criticism really easily because I really don't care about what people think, and it's a good thing and a bad thing. The person that signs my paycheck, I care about what they think. I care about a few of my friends think, because I don't want them to feel like I'm hurting them, or mm-hmm. or unintentionally hurting them or something like that for what I say, or my family. Outside of that, I know what I believe in.
You're just trying to please God.
Pretty much, so any kind of real criticism, it doesn't bother me too much. It does my wife. She has a big heart, and sometimes she wears it on her sleeve, and so it can bother her really easily. So sometimes when she shares me some of those things, I have thought about, well, let's put a pause on it, and let's pray about it, and then let's go back to it. And usually time heals it. It just heals it, and it gets out of there. The growth I've seen from Jessica since we started this, it's amazing. She used to care about everything what people thought of her.
Yeah, I have.
All the time.
And it's not, I don't think it's so much really caring what people think. It's more, I have a hard time feeling misunderstood. And when you're putting so much out there, you're bound to have people that are going to misunderstand mm-hmm. you, especially when you live a lifestyle that isn't common, especially right. if it's a faith-based life. There's a lot right. of opinions about a lot of things.
At first, you wanted to explain to everybody about why she made the choices.
Well, and if I just explained it a little more, people would understand. But as time has gone on, I've realized there are some people that will never understand. No amount of explanation right. will. They're approaching life from a completely different worldview, or they have baggage from their own childhood or from their life that they're projecting onto me. They see someone with 8 kids, and maybe they grew up in a house with a lot of kids and their parents did it wrong, and so they think everybody who does it is this way, and so they're projecting their insecurities or their whatever onto me, and I'm never going to change that.
Yeah, I think last Sunday we were talking with the children and about different celebrations and different belief systems and stuff like that. And I said, sometimes explaining why you don't do something or why you do something is worse. Because if someone asks you a question and you know that it's kind of argumentative, that it's going to be argumentative, I usually just say, well, you're probably not going to understand, and if I do say something, you are you're going to probably be either offended or want to argue a different point. So, do you really want to know before I answer them? Because if they really do and they want to know out of kindness, that's one thing. But most people now, especially nowadays, they want to interject their opinion so much that it doesn't come from a good place. And so, not saying something or explaining or giving your opinion about something or explaining the answer to their question just causes more riff, when really you can just say, well, if I explain it, it's probably not going to be a good thing. Let's just keep it superficial, because that we have a decent relationship right now. If we go too deep into something, we might not have the best relationship, because people think you judge them when you make different lifestyle choices as somebody else. I don't care how my brother, sister, my in-laws, how they live their life. That's fine. That's their life. And they don't need to explain to me why they chose to do that. Why do people feel like we need to explain why we chose this life? It doesn't make any sense. But we're confident. We're confident in what we're doing, because we see the fruits of it. We see how it enhances our life.
And it's different. That's in a real life context. In a social media aspect, I'm putting the information out there, and so you do expect there's going to be a little bit of pushback, because people are going to have an opinion about what you're doing. And then there's the anonymity of being able to say whatever they think without the consequence of having to stare someone in the face and see the reaction. But it's gotten better over time. I would say there might have been a time 3-4 years ago where maybe you wanted me to quit it because it wasn't worth it, and then.
Well, you were every week. You were crying about trying to explain something, and social media was beating you up.
Yeah.
It was beating you up until then there was a time where you went over this mountain that you were struggling with, and then you became you matured in the social media world, where you're like, I am going to care less about these answers, because you were answering everybody, and it was taking too much. Taking too much strength from you, just zapping it from you, and now you can just go, that's leading the wrong place.
I can just block, delete, move on.
Yep.
Hide it.
I'm going to answer the people that I think are really curious about the things, instead of the people that are just wanting to argue.
Yep, exactly.
Yep. So, to answer that question is, it's evolving all the time. Right now, we're at a good place that we will continue doing this, because it is beneficial to our family.
It is.
And and it seems to be a good thing, and people seem to enjoy it. We're real people. We don't make a bunch of money and live in a fancy house. If you drive by this house and wouldn't look twice, it's really an old farmhouse. So.
Yep, but we have a house full of love. We have.
It is full of love.
Wonderful children. And I just want to share the joys of homeschooling and motherhood and homesteading with other people. And so that's why I do it. And in return, you guys bless me by watching and encouraging us, and I'm very grateful. It's been a huge blessing, particularly in the last year. My channel has picked up. and it's afforded opportunities for our family that we otherwise wouldn't have had. So we're very grateful for all of you. And I know this video is coming out on New Year's Day, so we do want to wish you guys a happy New Year, and we're grateful for all of you for watching our videos.
Yes.
So, all right, with that, we are going to, it gets dark so early nowadays, but we're over the hump. It's going to start getting lighter out,
yes,
thankfully. So before it gets too dark, we've got to finish up some chores outside and then get the kids fed. So Happy New Year to you guys. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. The next month is going to be videos talking about my pantry challenge. I'm going to be showing you all of my meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner every week, and so hopefully you guys will enjoy that.
Yep.
You get to enjoy some pantry challenge meals.
Great.
Just dinners, because that's what he's here for.
Yeah.
Except for weekends, you get breakfast and lunch. All right, that's it. I could ramble all day. Bye, friends. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
All right.